Brent, are you there? Hello, hello. I cannot hear anybody. Okay. I've been hitting add. It says waiting for guest. There he is. Add. Brent, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hang on. I think it's
okay?
my
Oh. Hello.
Good morning. Is everybody there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I cannot hear you guys.
You can't
Can you hear me,
Dad?
Brent?
Yeah, I hear you great. Turn down your computer, turn up your phone.
I cannot hear them. Okay. Brent, say something. 5 by 5, guys.
Hi there.
I've got no audio.
You got no audio? We can hear you fine, Dad. We hear you good. It's very good.
That is shut off. Yeah, it is. Hang on a second with me, guys. Hello, is that better?
Yeah, that's great.
Somebody say something. I've got no audio on my phone. Brent, just keep talking without me.
I will. So we'll be discussing technology with you guys today. So that's what we're on about. We'll figure it out ourselves.
So you guys can hear me. I can't hear you.
Wow, look at all these people in the chat. Man, I love you guys. We just jumped the gun a little
That's
bit.
off.
Sorry about that. We're 1 o'clock instead of 2. But we are so happy to see you.
That's what I just did.
We got Ed, we got Tom, we got Mr. C, ASM Future, we got Rocky Mountain Jack, got Brad, Lewis.
It's off.
You, man. We are, as Dad posted a video today, but like he was saying, we are going to get spicy with this thing. It's time to get down.
Can you guys hear me now? So I'm sorry to keep interrupting the show here, guys.
Yeah,
I have no audio. And it is...
Dad, can you hear me?
You guys can hear me, and I can't hear you. Brent, carry the show.
All right, let's go, baby. So, you guys, I'm coming off of really the last 24 hours of just going through Bitcoin conference keynote speeches, and I woke up and I started drinking caffeine, and I kept going down that road. And I am so fired up about what we are all doing. I haven't been this fired up in like 2 years. Like this is really super duper special time for all of us in this community.
That's what it is.
What we're doing to help ourselves kind of understand and promote blockchain technology and getting us used to using it in our lives, and that helping us create our own self-sovereignty and our own trade system globally with each other, without the influence of said man so much interfering in it. And that is just, I was just reminded of that all over again. That's what the Bitcoin conference always does for me each year now. And I thank you to all the speakers and to everybody that puts that on. I watched keynote speeches from so far from Jack Mallers about Strike, Michael Saylor. Um, he talks about thermodynamics, and if you have not heard Michael Saylor talk about that, go check that out. He is he is an energy guy, and so are we. My dad and I are going to talk about that now and in the future. But what we love about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is that it helps us preserve our energy. And as opposed to, say, your currency sitting in a bank and your government is printing the tar out of it and you are losing uh, your value and worth and your energy. And we want to see all that change. And what was so neat about the conference and what I'm really taking away from it right now is it's uh, it's just a peaceful revolution, like RFK Jr.'s running on that basically. It's just peaceful revolution. We're not we're not taking up no arms with you, man. You guys are our friends and our family. We are here. My dad are here in America trying to help promote and create the change for all of us to use these types of things to create self sovereignty and independence again, away from um, regimists and governmental control of every part of our life, from what goes into our bodies to how we conduct economics to how and what and when we can do things. It just seems to be like everything keeps going down that road, and I'm excited to be back on this channel more with you and really speak to the opposite and help create that change. And we're doing it, everybody. This community is doing it. I know you all are just excited as I am. Dad, how you doing?
Sorry about that, guy. I'm doing better now. I
Nice.
can actually hear you, which is pretty important. It was a technical cord issue. So, after we weed through all the cords and settings on the back of the phone, we probably made everybody seasick. But, we made it through. I can hear you now, son.
All
So
right.
I heard most of the intro, so that was good. And
I'm all fired up.
one of the things that I really stress a lot on this show, as much as possible, is like what Brent was just saying. We're in this together. And one of the big takeaways I've had from the Bitcoin convention this year was, and also the XRP convention I just went to last couple of weeks ago in Vegas, was it's there's always been this strong war between XRP and Bitcoin, and I've never understood it because I owned them both. So it really kind of made me feel like I had to like one or the other. We're all on the same team, and I know there's technology and there's Hinman documents, as we all know out there, that say that, oh well, Bitcoin got an unfair advantage and Ethereum got an unfair advantage. I know all that. I get it. That'll all be exposed over time. That'll all happen. But one of the things is we're all on the same team. And one of the underlying theories or themes, I should say, with the Bitcoin convention this year, I've noticed, is it used to be exclusively Bitcoin. And now they're say almost every speaker says Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
And they weren't so inclusive in years past. So that's big. Brent, did you talk about strike or any of that stuff yet, or were you just kind of painting the whole picture of it?
Yeah, I was just painting the whole picture. So Strike, in the recent time here has expanded um, its service, its headquarters running out of El Salvador, um, and obviously trying to get it here functioning and going great in the United States. And then Jack's up on stage there, and he's one of those people that every time I hear him talk, I just totally identify with the guy. He's that
Yeah.
he's just, you know, he's got a good heart and he's emotionally in it.
Yeah.
And so he showed a map of the globe, right? And
Yeah.
you see the United States and Alaska lit up, and then he's like, "See that little dot right there?" And El Salvador's lit up, and then he lights up 65 other countries. You know, shout out! I just the first comment today. Shout out to Australia, India, countries in Africa, um, all over South America, and looks like I think they're saying they have the availability to service 3 billion people across those countries, and they've since changed their app because of all the things that have come out and all all the shortcomings with all these
Yeah.
exchanges over the last couple years. Um, they really kind of doubled down on being a global money app and really doubling down on peer to peer. Getting your dollar in, getting your
Yeah.
Bitcoin. Okay,
Yeah.
I want Bitcoin today. Okay, I want my dollar today.
Yeah.
And the app looks amazing. They made changes to the website, and
Yeah.
as he said, they tried to make it look kind of punk. And
Yeah.
punk is not just a type of music; it is a feeling. It's a juice. It's an energy, and
And it is
it's
too.
one where
Yeah.
you're kind of like, we're gonna go a little against the establishment here because we got our own really good ideas, and
Yeah.
we're running with those ideas. And that was the feeling of what I got from Jack's keynote speech.
Yeah. I
Very
was
cool.
just thinking already, what happened up in Canada with the truckers is
Hmm.
obsolete. Like that,
Yep.
that doesn't, they couldn't stop that anymore now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people, they're able to, with one click on a phone app wallet, you're able to take it from Bitcoin to cash, Canadian dollars, wherever you're at, instantly.
Hmm.
And back and forth as many times you want to go back and forth. That's huge. And then when you look at the market share, this is the thing that bothers me just a little bit about what's going on. It doesn't bother me. It just means that there's a ton of catch up for us to do. Okay, we are all XLM fans. Stellar Lumens, when it came out, Elizabeth and I ran in there. We've got to buy a ton of this stuff. And when Jed first left XRP, I said, he's going to revolutionize the small market because XRP was more about the big banking markets. Okay, moving millions and tens of millions. Okay, well, XLM is going to be more for, that common day guy around the world who's going to buy, whatever, Starbucks or food to eat and existence, right? Or the poor and everyone, because it's so cheap, so easy to use, and it was going to be so fast and it was going to be so prolific. Okay. Well, because of this suit, because of many other things, although XLM is not named in the suit, it is an issue for it because they are kind of brother tokens, coins, sorry. This has become like a black eye for XLM, and XLM, unfortunately, just hasn't had the market share. And when you lose 3.3 billion in market share to another network like Strike and Lightning Network,
Hmm.
that's going to be really hard to overcome. I think they will because I personally think their technology is better than Lightning. I really do. I know that to be true. What deep dives I've done into the tech side of things, their Lightning is good and it's as fast as it needs to be, but it's an overtime settlement coin. It's not settled now. It's not instant liquidity like XRP and XLM. Okay. It's just like a credit card where it settles at the end of 30 days or it settles in 24 hours or so, whatever period of time they decide what purchase level it settles at. On a banking term, that's how credit cards work. Well, that's essentially what Lightning Network set up. Okay, it was a credit card, right? Which works, and that works perfect, and we love it. And the beautiful part about what Lightning did was you don't even have to know you're on the Lightning Network, and that's what's going to be amazing about, in my opinion, XRP. XRP will be used, but it's going to be for big transactions in big banks, but they're not going to be even knowing they're using it. But when it comes to XLM, you and I are going to be using it. And we're going to know what it is. And we're going to know why that coin exists. And we're going to know that it becomes that in between. Just like Lightning Network people know that their coin goes from a US dollar to a Bitcoin to a British pound. And they're going to know that. And you and I are going to know that it becomes XLM in between the US dollar and the British pound. So in that sense, I'm really more bullish than ever on XLM and including XDC because of the XDC more because of the contracts, if you will, the smart contracts that XRP or XDC use, and the way they're using them is exactly what Lightning Network doesn't have. So they're not identical twins, but their market share is just killing it. And like Brent said, if you know anything about, Jack Mallers, man, that guy is money. His attitude, his style, his knowledge. He doesn't just write it on a napkin and talk about it and hang out and party with the guys. He gets it done, and he's making it happen on levels that it's absolutely amazing to me. I wish he was.
Yeah, that guy's living it.
Yeah, he's
That
living
guy's
it.
clearly
I
living it.
I really kind of I hope he gets persuaded in time to get more than just be a Bitcoiner because we need him everywhere. We really
We do.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Um, I've always felt that way about Michael too, and you're right, Dad. It was a little more. Uh, that was included, the cryptocurrency universe.
yeah,
I felt like was more welcomed in
yeah,
speeches, and as we all know, and like Dad, I got so excited when I heard you were going to talk about Stellar. It was one of my first holdings. When I remember first reading about Chainlink and Stellar and kind of understanding um, how things are going to work and move, and
yeah,
how we can use those tools to translate and move our different currencies. And there's so many projects like that. There's so many coins now, and there's so many people doing things that are really really special. And this kind of week where we get news like this, where we
yeah,
have a wallet that is, being broadcast and able to be used all over the world,
yeah,
that's the dream. I mean,
yeah,
that's the dream to me. That's
yeah,
as good a step as long as you can put it in a good application and you can put it in people's hands and we can use it amongst each other. That's the dream. If we
yeah.
get there in my lifetime, I'm good.
Oh, we're
I'm good.
doing it. We're.
We're doing it.
I I was telling Brent this morning or last night. I was laying in bed and I was watching Jack's speech, and I started tearing up. And Liz was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Are you gonna start crying again?" I was like, "This has been a long journey, guys. This has been. I've dreamed of these days coming for since I don't know early 2017, to where the dream was, hey, we could bank the world, and we could do it, and they don't need to go into some stinky old brick building and be scrutinized and give all your identification to the world and tell you, they know everything about you in this surveillance world in which we live in. You could own your own wallet, your own bank, and be your own bank on your own phone. And now there's going to be dozens of these. They're not just going to be, Lightning Network. It's going to be way more than that. And I really believe it's going to be the death nail I did a video about this, and it was very controversial because a lot of people didn't like it. But I really think that wallet is the death knell to the CBDC. Like, people are going to go, I don't need a CBDC. I can just transact with other people that are producing things because we'll trade these same Bitcoins back and forth, but we'll trade the same token or whatever ledger they're on, right? Doesn't matter. We'll trade it. I'll take those and then we'll exchange them. We'll do the whole, trying to remember the good swaps, the sushi swaps, the atomic swaps, and all those swaps that you can, like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't care what coin you're giving me. I'll give you value back on the coin you prefer. You're a Bitcoiner, you're a XRP, it doesn't matter. We're going to exchange it back through each other, and we're going to stay away from the CBDC because we're going to be the group that has value or net assets of life value, dollar value, if you will, where we're not going to have to be the people that take the tokens that the government's handing out with all those strings attached. And that's just magical in so many sovereign ways, which is in the title, so we might as well talk about it. Brent, what does sovereignty mean to you? What do you get from that?
Um, I we've been talking about this a lot. I'm trying to kind of forget about the past meaning of it in my life. Forget about the historical ramifications of what the word sovereignty is and where it comes from, um, and the, all kinds of applications of it. But now I just look at it today as, um, uh, in short, freedom. Uh, Freedom in
Right.
the sense of, freedom's a cop out word, kind of, but freedom in the sense of everything. In the sense
Yeah.
that, I'm just as, a creative part of this world, and my effort and my energy that I put into each day and to my jobs and into my life and everything, can matter just as much as what some elected official or some ruler or somebody can can do or implement. It means that there's enough separation between me and said ruler or said powerhouse that I can make my own decisions and I can make my own choices. Like, the
Right.
ability to make my own choices.
Yeah.
That's freedom to me.
Yeah. It is.
What
You're,
do you think about? This is a question I had for you, Dad. I was excited to ask you about it.
but there really is two kinds of sovereignty, right? There's your personal sovereignty, which is, essentially what you just, your personal freedoms and your own ability to be your own bank, if you will, like we are just talking about. I want to be, why, why do I have to get my paycheck, okay, from my employer, which I agree that I'll do the work and he'll pay me the money. Why do we need a bank in between me and him? Who I don't even know who invited him. What why do I need any information, any surveillance between he and I? We have an agreement together. We can even come up with a smart contract instead of a job employment form or whatever. But every level of every avenue that they can take, they'll get into your job rights. They'll get into your, are you polluting the planet? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? You have to tick all of these boxes, which create all this red tape between you and your life. Okay. Those are all just little tiny drops of something in your drink that you don't like the flavor of. And then eventually, when you become my age, or even you guys are getting younger and learning it faster than ever before, it's like, I don't want Big Brother in my cocktail. I don't need you in my life. I want to be, why don't you do a better job of finding ways of allowing the citizens to thrive individually for themselves? Then they wouldn't be such a burden on the system, right? You
Yeah,
allowed us all to be work free, freely and create freedom in our country, all countries, that we could expand and grow an economy within ourselves and our neighbors and our friends, that we would thrive, the nation would thrive, the taxation would improve. But the other way around is the surveillance state in which they're focusing upon every right that you've had was easy for them to do, including money. And we've never in the history of man attempted to threaten their control of money over us. And we are now.
Yeah.
For the first time in the history of mankind, other than maybe going out in the settling days out in the hills where I live here with your own pick and your own axe to create your own gold, you really, in the history of man, you've never been able to generate your own money or find your own money or turn your money into sovereign money like we are today. And it's to be cherished. It's no wonder they want to squash it. It's obvious what they're trying to do. And it's so clear to me that the most corrupt nation in the world is the one that's dragging their feet the largest. They're the ones that are dragging the hardest. Isn't it? Isn't it? Does it strike anyone as odd that, like, I don't know, what is it? 29 other countries already said that XRP is not a security. Is that falling on the court's ears or not? Like, does the judge get to hear that? Like, I know it's not relevant because it's not our country, but why is it you're so afraid of it when every other country that's put it in front of a council or a committee or whatever said, yeah, no, we're okay with that. But what's the matter with this country? Well, this country is, I think, in my opinion, becoming more and more fearful of people's sovereign rights. And the more they understand that they have sovereign rights, the more they're trying to express them and live within them, the less they like it, which means they turn the screws a little tighter. And when they turn them too far, the pendulum swings too far and then it swings back the other way. And hopefully we're on the other direction. I don't want to get too deep in all that, but
Sure feels like
that's
it.
what sovereign means to me on a
Yeah.
national and personal level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decentralization.
Yeah.
When you are working with a centralized agency or government power or whoever, it gets sticky and there's a lot of rules and it gets really expensive. I What was the video you sent me this morning, Dad? Uh, we're gonna get priced out. We're gonna get priced out. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
um,
Exactly. The
and I
panic.
was sitting, I was sitting there drinking some coffee and watching this video, and he's drinking his coffee and talking about all these things, and it's like, I'm sitting around here looking at my own town that I live in, and just wondering how I'm ever going to be able to purchase property here, because I'm in my current
Yeah.
economic state. I'm priced out. I'm priced out. Like I know
Yeah.
what the kind of loan that I would get, and I know
Yeah.
uh, how much I would have to put up, and is that going to be worth it in the changing state of the markets? Is it going to be worth it for me to make that commitment now here? And
Well, you could,
it's like, yeah, which it could be,
no,
but
you could marry a politician. Think about
yeah,
it.
oh yeah, just very rich,
Yeah.
you know,
Then you'd be wealthy.
yeah. Then I won't have those kinds of questions anymore.
You would
That's
never hear from your father again, but
uh,
other than that, everything
no,
would be great. They're not all bad. Come on now.
no. I heard from some good ones this weekend. Holy smokes! I didn't know
Yeah.
they had it in them.
Somebody said he's anti the Second Amendment, but I'm like, whatever. I mean, good luck trying to get rid of guns. That
Yeah,
ain't happening.
yeah.
Not in this
That's
country.
not going to happen.
No,
No,
it doesn't matter what
that's
he likes about that.
Americans are stubborn about one thing, and that is definitely one of those things.
Yeah.
We're
I wish we
no,
were more stubborn about the first one.
yeah, Good call, Dad.
Yeah,
Good call.
we need to get that one back hard.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Blockchain technology is a way to do that. That was a
yeah,
lot of what Michael was talking about. When
yeah,
these government agencies finally see Bitcoin as a place of security,
yeah,
and it's become such a giant network that
yeah.
however many miners you got throwing power and energy at it, you can't crack it, you can't
Right,
cheat
right.
it.
Nope.
Maybe we should
Well, I
start
don't know.
looking into this and using this. And he does such a great job about explaining it on a corporate level as well. And
Yeah,
that's the next step. You know,
that's right.
when companies all around decide to look at this, is why I did the blockchain 5 videos. It was just trying to help people understand decentralization and what you can do with cryptocurrencies
Yeah,
to have a constant building of your asset base versus, okay, well, we got to work,
yeah, that's right.
we got to make this much more than we did last year, and we got to cut 10% of our staff, and it just feels
Yeah,
like it's all going that way. And is it getting more efficient? I don't
no,
know. I, I
no,
I'm more
it's getting less efficient.
of the thinking that if you what's that saying, Dad? If you if you feed the masses, you can live with the classes.
Right.
That
Yeah,
that is what I hope to see happen in the corporate world and in the banking world.
yeah,
I hope people understand
right, right. We would,
how this technology can be used and distributed, and for everybody to use, and then the more people like it and the more people believe that there's freedom in it and choice, they're going to run to it.
yeah.
They're
Oh,
going to
yeah,
want to use your product. They're going to want
that's
to work
right.
with you.
It's been hidden from them really to a great degree. Really
Mhm.
has. I was listening to somebody speaking the other day, and it really hit me about that exact subject because what I know, what I know, what I know, what's happening behind in the background in the banking scene is the adoption is already there. They're already using it.
Yeah.
They're already playing around with it. They're already transacting in it, and they just haven't solidified their control of it, the off ramps and on and off ramps of it. And that's, you know, I give my opinion on this all the time, and I'm going to give it again. I really think this whole SEC thing is completely about controlling uh, the coin itself. They want to sell it to you. They don't want you to own it and then get rich off. I don't think they care that you get rich off of it. I think what they want to do is sell it and profit from the sales of it
Mhm.
and potentially controlling of it. Its use case. So that side of business, like you're talking about, is adopting and it's happening. But again, it's built like all new technology that's allowed to happen, if you will. It has to be controlled first, and it has to be owned by the people that they want owning and controlling it before they let it flourish.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but that's kind of the world we live in. And it's the
Mhm.
exact opposite of what the thing was designed to do. And that's what's really irritating and
Yeah.
frustrating to me when I hear people tell me all the time, oh, well, we need regulation, Alan. We've got to have all kinds of it. That's one thing that I really don't like. Bruno is going to knock the camera over. Not like maybe. He's going to, uh,
Bruno.
yeah, uh, there's Goldie. So that's the one thing I really oppose. There's a lot of things I don't agree with Michael Saylor. I love his vision. I love his brain. Holy smokes, that guy is sharp. He's a really good CEO. I don't believe that Bitcoin is the end all be all. I just don't. Okay,
Mhm.
that doesn't make any sense to me. There's not one technology in the world where one thing thrives and everything else just dries up. That doesn't make any sense to me. And the other thing about him that I don't like is he wants to corporate regulations. Well, look, man, you're older than I am. How has that worked in your lifetime? Has that worked well for the people? No, no, it hasn't. It's made corporations profitable and it hasn't allowed the people at the bottom to thrive. Well, we now have something to where when you own a coin, you own the company. It's not the board owns the company and the president owns the company. We own the company now. Okay. And
Mhm.
when I pass, you own the company, Brent, and then your kids own the company. It's not one guy. It's not, uh, Jeff Bezos, right? It's not one dude and a board. It's the bottom up theory. So having all these regulations and these corporate rules and regs and oh well that'll bring big money in. You know what? Big money's coming anyway. We don't need those damn regs. That's exactly why we created crypto. That's why what we're talking about right here is decentralization. And I know a lot of people are downplaying Web3 now, but I love Web3 and I think that's where we're headed. And if we can get there without too much regulation, it will work. If we
Yeah.
get heavily regulated, it's just going to be another great invention like the internet that they control, and that would bum me out. That would not be good. And then they'll start coming after coins that are privacy coins like Monero, and which they're already doing, and and that's another thing I don't like about it. I'm not bagging on him because
Yeah.
he's brilliant and he's an
Oh
amazing
no,
man.
totally.
Yeah,
In an ideal world, um, regulation would provide markets honesty and trust. And
in a decentralized market, yeah, it
yeah,
would.
and in our world, what
Yeah,
has happened is the regulation has made it harder and harder and harder for the end user to be able to survive in the
that's it.
ecosystem. And what do we have with blockchain? The opposite. It's the
Right,
opposite. It
the
is the
opposite.
ultimate trustless, as they say, because there's no need
Yes.
for trust because it's on
Nope.
a ledger, and you can't corrupt that.
Right.
You know,
It just
it's
speaks to their sincerity, the fact that they don't want that for the people.
yeah,
Like, wasn't it you that
yeah.
said that this morning, right? Like, you can tell the good politician from the bad one because if they're behind crypto, they're for the people,
That's it.
essentially. Yeah.
Basically, so RFK Jr. got up there
Yeah.
and and he started speaking about Bitcoin. He said he was giving a speech. I want to say the week before about the dangers of digital currency use and how it can be manipulated uh, in any form by governments, by people, by corporations, by people who hold a lot of money and they can buy a lot of it and then they can control it. All good points, And then he said the Ottawa trucking incident happened and the peaceful protest,
Right.
and it's what really turned the light bulb on for him about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and just just that speech, which he nailed all the key points. He nailed all the things that we've all been talking about for years.
Yeah.
Um, if you're a politician running now and
Yeah.
you're not saying that, and you're keeping it hush hush, and there's maybe some CBDC talk in there, I don't want to hear from you. I am. This is where I draw the line now.
Yeah.
Leave it to a Kennedy to draw the line for me on
Right.
morality. This is it. This is it. This is man. It took Bobby Kennedy's kid to
Right.
today in 2023 to
Yeah.
say something like that, and it was like, wow, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I still don't believe a word any of you people say, but I really like the sound of what's coming out of your mouth here. That is awesome.
Well, first thing that came to my mind is like, well, wait a minute, the trucker strike thing was like last year, right? Like,
Hmm.
where you been, dude?
Yeah,
Like, what? Haven't you been voting on stuff about crypto all this time? And it's the first time the light bulb went off. But I get it. People are
sure.
busy doing other stuff. But
Yep.
I did hear what else came out of that. There was over a billion, no, over a million wallets with at least a Bitcoin in it. Over 16 million wallets with a half. Was it a half? No, 10% of a Bitcoin. Yeah, 16 million.
Wow.
That's,
Said the
I mean,
networks. They said the network's still growing 70% per year.
right. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of XRP people that really, man, I've heard some really amazing out there conspiratorial stories about Bitcoin and how they're going to rug pull the whole thing. And some of them actually hold water. I mean, I'm like, wow, I could see where that would happen. Or that people in the XRP aren't going to believe that. And there's a lot of channels that promote that every day. But the thing for me is, it's a little strange to me that, let's see, David Schwartz owns Bitcoin. you know, Brad Garlinghouse owns Bitcoin, right? Like when you start going through the list, right? And you're like, well, wait a minute. All those guys who run or created XRP all still own Bitcoin. That's because they're in a different tax bracket than most of us. That's what I keep saying is like, if you've got $100,000 to invest in crypto tomorrow, you might want to spend 30% of that on a whole Bitcoin and just tuck it away.
Yeah.
Just mine, not investment advice. But I'm just saying you have 70,000 other dollars to get rich with other coins, if that's your game plan. So not everybody has that kind of money. But let's stop and think. There's only going to be 16, 17 million, and there's already a million wallets that already tied one of those up. And
Wow.
how many millions of them does Michael Saylor have, or hundreds of thousands of them?
A
I
bunch.
mean,
They have
a
a bunch.
bunch. So it's going to be coming scarce. What do we have, a year before the halving, right?
Hmm.
Halving's a year from now, I want to say. That's, we're going from, what is it, 6.5 coins every 10 minutes to 3.25. It's getting skinny, you know, and hopefully we're going to have another bull market here before too long, and everybody can make a whole lot of money on their XRP or whatever other coins you have, and
Wow.
your Cardanos and whatnot, and maybe you can solidify some of that, some Satoshis in the background. Again, not legal advice, because you might just make so damn much money with your XDC. XDC is one of those that's like, that's going to make people a lot of money. That one right there. Yeah. Okay,
I
Brent,
love it.
what
Dad, okay,
else
well let's
did
get to
you?
the crew here. Uh
Yeah, let's read some questions.
yeah, we got spicy on that. Nice. Get it, Pappy. So big shout out to Bobby, Brad, and Lewis. They've been blowing this thing up the whole time. Having a great chat. Uh, Big hello to Simon, my homeboy, and big hello to Joanna. Much love. It looks like Elizabeth has been on there, discussing some court questions and also some pig questions, and we love it. Theta, what do you think right now about Theta, Dad? Shout out Randall.
Theta,
Yeah.
um, this just in, breaking news.
What do you?
Uh,
What,
I just got some questions from the crowd. Um,
oh, excellent. Go for it.
from,
Smash
uh,
it.
yeah, no, I love the Theta one.
Hmm.
Theta had a big jump. Again, just price doesn't really matter, but they're their tech is so far out ahead of media that media is going to have to. We need like Mr. Murdoch to get out of the damn way, if you know what I mean, and that whole system to collapse a little bit more before Theta really explodes. It's really exploding in gaming. That's what little bit I know about their progress. I almost like I was talking about earlier today with the XLM really has to overtake this giant lightning network that has this market adoption that's just massive. It's like, well, good luck with that. Look, you're going to have to compete in the long run, even though your technology is probably 10 times better. Okay. It still doesn't mean you just get to win tomorrow. It's, it's like my analogy, fastest doesn't always mean that you get to win the race, right? Like like the analogy I use, you don't take your Ferrari to Home Depot to go get lumber. It's like
Yeah.
certain coins, certain things do things better than others, and they're trusted and they have market share already and they have function. So speed isn't the only game. And I know a lot of people just really hang their hat on speed and technology, and Theta speed and technology is 10 times better than any network out there, including their smart contracts. I didn't know much about their smart contracts until like about a couple of months ago. Somebody sent me an article because you know how YouTube is. It's so cool, right? I say something, I'll say a coin, a Divi or a Theta or Cardano or something, and somebody will send me like 3 links. I'm like, hey man, have you seen this? What do you think of this, Alan? Which is so cool. I love when you guys do that because I learn, you learn, we all share. It's awesome. I mean, I really do. I love that. It was all about Theta and their smart contracts. Like literally are the best on the planet, according to this author and the way this article was presented. And I had no idea they even had smart contracts. So, yeah.
Nice.
Hang on, I got more breaking news here. Take the show for a minute, Brent.
The more you know about crypto, shout out to you. What do you think about Divi? What do I think about Divi? I think it's fantastic, and I hear it's one I kind of come and go with, and I have a Divi wallet and I've used it, and I've one of my favorite purchases ever, and was purchasing Divi the time I got it off KuCoin, and what what they're doing, and the news that's coming out, and my dad is really the person to discuss this, because the last thing you told me about on the phone, Dad, was like it was huge. It was so huge, and I just every single time I hear about Divi, or there's an update or something, it's just awesome. And one of the first big groups that my dad and I were part of, they're big Divi fans, big Divi fans over there, and that's one that I will use their wallet. I will hold it. I will be supporting that project for a long time, for sure.
Yeah,
Personally,
oh yeah.
personally.
Some of these questions are really kind of deep. Holy smokes. Turns out there's some brains around here.
Woo!
Who would have thought that? Who would have thought on our show that anybody would have a great,
Thank God.
intelligent question?
Thank God there's somebody out there. It's
Okay.
not us,
Well,
Dad.
well,
We're the three-legged blind squirrel here.
yeah, that's right. I'm just
Mhm.
chasing acorns around the block. I've got a really big one that's really heavy here, and I really want to get deep into it, but I'm not going to go into that unless we're on Patreon because it refers to the BIS, Bank of International Settlement, and the IMF, and the World Bank, and WEF, and the rest of it. Who those people are and what they represent is mentioned on my show all the time. I've never been able to get deep into it. Trust me, I will. That's something Brent and I are going to tackle. I can't tackle it on this platform the way I want to.
Yeah.
And it's not because I want to drop a bunch of F-bombs. It's because I want to get into it. And I want to explain what I know about it. And just because I say it or I think it or I've heard it from somebody else, it doesn't mean that that's truth or what's happening. I'm just saying that's my view. I built this view over a 20-year span, at least, from some of the people I've talked to. So yes, we will get into those conversations. They're a little edgy for right now, if you guys don't mind. What?
I'd like to research that too.
Oh yeah. Well, you and I
Before
talked
we do
about it
that,
forever.
we should do that one, Dad.
Yeah. I don't know about BitPay being shut down. This was just given to me. I don't know anything about that. I'm really sorry. I should look into that. I'm sorry. I don't know. I you know that I only have so many minutes in the day, and I really kind of follow my stuff a lot. So if it's something I'm not into, I do know a lot of people. I looked into this, and I don't think any of us have gotten really to the bottom of the ledger and NanoX conversation. All I know is they said weeks ago that they were going to do what they did, and then they did it, and everybody freaked out. So don't panic. Hang in there. I still love the idea of ledgers and trezors, and I think they're going to be completely safe. I think a lot of this stuff is presented to you by three-letter agencies, if you know what I'm talking about. And they get on these forums and they get on these sites and they're trolls and they spread a lot of crap. Okay. And some of it turns out to be real and most of it turns out to be not real. And if any of you saw my show, I can prove this to you. I lived in a small little town, little ski resort, and we had one of the best businesses in town, and we sold real estate REITs. If you guys know what real estate trusts are, that's we bought a piece of property that Brent knows well, okay, and it it became the industrial park, and it also became the entire part of town that all the new cool houses moved to. Okay, that whole chunk of land was our REITs. We were selling these. Okay, one guy, although the contracts all said you couldn't pull your money out for 5 years. Okay, his brother was the district attorney in Bishop, the town. Well, district attorney hit us with 23 suits, 23 lawsuits, all of one side and down the other. Not one of them with any foundation. Not one of them was real. He breached every single contract. The SEC came out and protected us and flew lawyers from New York City out there twice, okay, and fought for us in court. And by lunchtime, the judge was laughing, like, what are you doing here? You've insulted this company, you've ruined their reputation, and now these people are out of a job and everything else. And you, for what? Because your brother's going through a divorce and he wanted his money? Like, it was embarrassing for the district attorney. He should have lost his job and he didn't. All of that was because of rumors and chat and idle lips. All of us spread rumors, all of us read something and we believe it to be real. The redactions in the Little Mammoth Times paper were on the last page, and you needed a magnifying glass to say that we were cleared of all 23 charges. That crushed an incredible job that I would have had in that town for probably I'd still be doing it there. Okay. So don't believe everything you hear. Deep dive, research it as best you can, because it's so hard to know what's real and what's not today, because everything's a narrative. Everything is an emotion. It's all sold to you to get you lathered up, whipped up, and in panic and in fear. And then once you're in a state of fear, you're not thinking clearly. That's my 2 cents on the ledger, Nano. Um, do your own research. Don't just listen to some guy on YouTube tell you it's cool or not. Um,
Yeah,
gosh, what other question do we have here?
love it,
Uh,
Dad. We're waiting on the green light, everybody, for Patreon. Um,
we all
that's that's all submitted. Just waiting. Um, we can't wait either, outdoor boys. We can't wait either. Um,
they we submitted all the paperwork and blood type and all the rest, fingerprints,
uh-huh.
and they just haven't gotten back to us. I think it's probably the weekend and some things. I don't know. I don't think it's anything we did, or I'm sure it'll be first the next week. I would guess today being so. Um,
Let's see.
uh, let's see. What else have I got here?
Got any good ones there, Dad? Let's see.
I, I do. I have really good ones, but both party, dude. I don't know what you mean by that, but I love it. Both
Yeah,
party,
yacht party after XRP pops. I heard that one
yes,
earlier.
right. No, we are definitely doing a boat party.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Divvy, there's a big Divvy question here. I bring up Divvy a lot. I'm not promoting Divvy, uh, other than to say Brent and I have personally met the co-CEO. Well, I guess he's the only CEO now. And let's see, we've heard him speak a couple times.
Hmm.
Been following him for, I think we've owned Divvy for 2 or 3 years now, 3 years, I want to say something like that. And time flies.
Yeah.
And it's just been great to us. It's an amazing node. He's working in Dubai now. He lives in Dubai and he works out of Dubai. And it's a brilliant wallet. It's really known for its security. And I think that it's really going places. It's really taken a beating in this price. So you can pick up a node very cheap now. I believe you need to get it on. Somebody was telling me, who was that? Matt? No, that was Sammy was telling me. Sammy's probably in here. He was telling me that he couldn't get it through KuCoin anymore,
Oh
or KuCoin
no.
isn't in the US.
Hmm.
He said KuCoin's not doing US anymore. Which
Ah.
what's news to me. I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that. But he thought, well, maybe it's just a glitch or something. He's going to check back in on that. So I don't know about that.
I believe
What else about Divvy, Brent? What else do you like
it's
about
been a
Divvy?
minute, but I believe you can buy it through the wallet now, can't you?
Through who?
Through the wallet. I will get. Let me get back to y'all on that. I will.
I know,
It's been
I
a
know they were
minute since
working on
I.
that.
It's been a minute since I've been working on my Divi wallet. So let me see what you can do, and can't do in there.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's sad to hear. That's I was going through KuCoin to purchase mine before.
Yeah,
One of the
I don't
questions,
know. I haven't
Dad.
confirmed that.
One of the questions, Dad. Good one for Elizabeth too is which on ramps and off ramps we use um, to obtain our cryptos. Um,
Well,
and I
we
mean, it's not
haven't.
a great question, but it's a
No, it's a
question.
good question. It's a really good question because a lot
Um,
of new people now.
yeah.
One of the things for me is not like it depends on the coin you're buying, obviously, but one of the companies that I was really impressed with in Vegas is one that most of the people in this chat already know is Uphold. And
Old.
they, as far as I'm concerned, are the real deal. I stuck with two of their. Chat. Hang on, I think you're not. Did I lose the feed, guys? You're back. Okay. Up.
Mhm.
I don't know how much of that you missed. Uphold, amazing. I spoke with some of the reps. I don't take my word on this, but as far as I'm concerned, they're the best as far as buying and holding XRP. They were one of the only exchanges. if you'll take Jack Mallard, his punk attitude about it. I really liked it a lot. And I was like taken by them. I've looked into them through another person who does a show. And I said, hey, what do you think of those guys? It's a big show that we all know. I'll just say it. Uh, I am live, right? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So there was another show, and he and I were talking. He goes, I've had nothing but great things to say with them. I've been working with them since they came out. So that was another a voice of somebody that you would all know that I really trust. I don't want to use his name, but he has a big YouTube channel as well, way bigger than this channel. We're small potatoes compared to him, but and he knew all those guys personally, and that's the only broker he uses. So I noticed somebody asked about Caleb and Brown. As far as I'm concerned, Caleb and Brown it's not for everybody. They're what we call high commission, high level of service. They're hand holders. They will walk you through the process. They absolutely do not want to hold your coin. They don't want your coin. It's not going to be on their exchange or within their building. They will, but they'll tell you, look, you've got a week for me to put a wallet address to this, because we're not a store. We don't want your coins. We're going to buy them, sell them to you, and you own them. This is what we do. So I've always loved that about them, and I've always appreciated that, because they're not trying to store everybody's wealth and then run off with a bikini model or something. Who knows what happens out there. But that's what I've always appreciated about them. They've been around a long time, but they are full service. I believe your first transaction has to be over $2,000. I am signed up with them. We have never traded with them as of yet, only because we haven't needed to. We basically, Elizabeth and I dollar cost averaged. Sorry, my wife does not own or buy cryptocurrencies. A little legal disclaimer there. She's in the other room, so I've got to be careful. What other questions do you guys have other than the legal stuff? Because that's really going to be Elizabeth's forte, obviously. Brent and I know I'm repeating myself, but Brent and I are going to really get more into geopolitical a little bit, very much the banking system, and it's the way it maneuvers money and wealth and power around the world, the way that intertwines with central banking systems and the IMF and BIS, like was asked earlier today, how that affects your life, how the billionaires of the planet operate, what they think, how they got that way, how you could get that way, how you should protect your money once you are that way. That's kind of more of what I really like to talk about. And one of the things also that I'm really getting more and more involved in is, when you are wealthy, now what? And I say this all the time to everybody, and it's so important. Things that it is the most important thing of my whole life about investing. And it goes like this. When the market's down, you buy the down thing. Okay? Period. Contrarian. When it's going up is the only time anybody will ever try and buy crypto. That you will not talk your friends at work into buying crypto unless it's going up. That's psychology 101. They just don't want to hear anything about it. When it's on sale, when it's dirt cheap, and when it's free, they don't want any part. Okay. Rule 1 in trade. Rule 2, most important rule, the hardest rule to master, almost impossible. I'm horrible at it. When do you sell? Selling is the hardest thing to master, because what is enough? What do you consider enough? When have you made enough? What coin do you think is going to outlast the rest of you and your life? What coin are you going to maybe not sell, but put into a secure account to where it pays you an annual return? by the way, I had a great lengthy
Yeah.
conversation with uh, Reaper Company, and we mentioned that in the other video. And in our Patreon, I'm sure we're going to be talking more about those guys and probably even have interviews with him because he and I hit it right off. So terrible. Again, somebody told me in the last video what his name was, and I've already forgotten it. But um, I have met hundreds of people in the last 2 weeks. Hundreds. Okay. So it's been a little overwhelming, but it's been incredible. It's been so much fun. Um, why am I rambling on? Where were we with? Oh, I was finishing up
I'm
questions.
I'm loving it. Yeah, you were doing questions and you're rolling, Dad.
Oh,
We
well,
yeah,
hopefully,
what's so exciting, you guys, when we're also doing the Patreon, because we're still gonna bring you guys the best content we can, and I think us being able to kind of run the way that my dad and I have, like on the phone, and he and I have done so many car trips and so many boat trips, and um, he and I have never held back with each other. There's never been, and it's not a sit down argumentative thing. I fell off the tree. You know, we equally wanted to do this community. We wanted, this is the dream. We're living the
yeah,
dream. So thank all of you for allowing us to live our dream. This is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. This is it. This is
yeah,
helping my parents and our entire community run and roll and find the solutions and find what's working, and let's check that out, let's use it, what do you think about it? And I
yeah,
feel like the Patreon, us being able to kind of talk the way that you and I talk to each other, Dad, because we squirrel off into energy, and how does that feel, to me right now psychologically. And it's like, okay, and then Dad's this perfect dot connector of geopolitical stuff, and then it's like, oh well, I've seen this and this and this happen in my community, and my dad's like, well, what about this? And I'm like, oh man, of course that's what's going on,
yeah,
and so I think as we do Patreon and we get into those conversations, I think it's going to lend itself to us creating. Well, your content to me is great, Dad, but for me to come on here and do better content on YouTube, and and I'm
yeah.
excited for that. For those of you who don't want to spend the money or the extra, we're gonna stay here and keep bringing it, hopefully better than ever.
And
Uh,
Elizabeth put it so well the other day. She was talking about how I'm a boomer. I'm the very tail end of the boomer generation, and she's a Gen X and Gen X, yeah. And Brent is a well, Brent's a lot of things, but he's a
what's 80?
millennial.
What's 86? 86 is a millennial.
I believe it is, isn't it?
I'm
Yeah,
right in that zone
yeah,
where most people my age know what it is and care, and then I'm still the dinosaur that just
yeah.
like, what's a millennial? Like, what
But
time period is that?
yeah, but I
Uh,
learned so much from millennials because they're really the people that they're pushing technology, and the Z's, right? Obviously, and the new Gen Z's and whatnot. Those are really pushing technology and demanding of it. That's another thing. It's
yeah,
like these people older than I am are running our country and setting these laws that are so draconian that like it's ridiculous. Like the people that are the innovators and allowed to grow and create the new boom of the planet are being suppressed by these old parts. And it's just like it really just gets. I've seen so much of it in my lifetime, and I saw how it held my generation back. And it just really, we were trying to be our parents all the time. It's like, for
mhm,
what? For why? I mean, they were dinosaurs. Each generation gets better. And
Yeah.
that's what we need to do is appreciate the next generation. No, they don't think like you do. No, they don't operate like you do. They do it differently. And you know what? It's probably better. It's probably better the way they do it. You know?
I
You know,
I am so fortunate to be such good friends with all of my parents.
yeah,
And we talk about it all the time. They're all in their 50s and 60s now, and I've gotten to, like I was just talking about, have these huge, crazy, deep conversations with my dad my whole life, and then all of us also talking about, like, anytime I went through a relationship thing or a job thing like, they had five of those. They had five instances, and they had
yeah,
five examples, and they had, um, and something we talk about in our family a lot is like, uh, I wouldn't go back and do it that way again. Like, I personally,
yeah,
no regrets. I'm at peace with my life now, and I don't have any regrets. But I wouldn't live my 20s the same. If
no,
I had the kind of wisdom that I have now, I would have
yeah,
done that differently now. And the generation that comes after me is going to have all of those lessons and all of those things. It's like, well, I don't want to do it that way. That's not
yeah,
that didn't work. That stressed my dad out. That My dad was angry and pissed off and sour about that, and we discussed it for a decade, and then we finally found this blockchain thing. It's like,
yeah,
we don't want to do it the old way. We don't want to
yeah,
do it the old, like, we want to keep growing, and we want to grow together. And
yeah,
that's, I think, the beauty of what you and I can bring to all this, Dad, is that, we are friends, and that is really, thanks to you, that has always really come first. Um, the respect that you've given me, and it's made me in turn respectful of all other people, and wanting to make everybody around me, a
yeah.
friend, or giving them that freedom to be my friend. Like, open
Right. Yeah.
arms, and that just us being able to share the way that we do, and as we've both said too, become better listeners,
Yeah.
um, and be more open minded,
Yeah.
about the ideas that we hear. And I get them wrong. You get them
Oh,
wrong. I
yeah.
get them wrong.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be wrong about some stuff, but we, of all the people I know, we'll admit to it, and
But you were pretty much
we'll
born
laugh
this way.
about it, and we'll run after it. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's all you can do.
There's there's so much going on out in the world right now, and it's really hard to put it all together because it's all evolving every day. It just seems like there's a new rabbit hole to go down. But the one thing that you always have is you always have the strength of your wisdom of what you think is real. Okay, I've got this. I've got, and as long as you keep that in a good place and don't focus too much on too much of the really bad stuff that's going on all around you, you'll
Hmm.
probably have a pretty good life, you know? But if you're
Yeah,
constantly in that turmoil, like the sky's falling and we're all dying and this is happening tomorrow and tyranny's going to crush the world, it's really hard to have a good moment or a good day, and then what happens, I see it all the time on the boat, right? It's like, here's 10 of these people and they only get to see each other a couple of times a year and they never get to be on a yacht together. And then they sit there, right? And one person is spewing this doomsday crap in the middle of the boat, and it's just like everybody sort of slowly backs away from them, like, man, we're out here having a good time, and you got to bring that up, like just put it, put a sock in it for the afternoon, It's like, can we just get away from what you watched on YouTube all week, and just have a good
yeah,
time? So we got to
yeah,
remember to do that. Really be conscious of the information that you take in and the way it's presented and what's behind it. What's the motive? What are they trying to get you to do? And even the it's funny to me because even the alternative media today, it has an agenda. And the agenda isn't just hey, let's fix the world. The agenda is always what the hell is broken. And they can't get past what's broken every day. So they
Right.
live in this broke world that's like everything's broke. Everywhere I look, it's corrupted and it's broken. Well, what
Yeah.
kind of life is that? You know, what you're really looking for is, okay, how do we fix it? Like, all right, this dam's got a bunch of leaks in it. What are we going to do? Well, they're the problem and the government's in our way. Okay, there's always a workaround. Crypto. Let's work around them. Let's just go around these fools. They're old, they're tired, they're slow, and they're not very smart. All you're going to do is watch the Senate hearings for about 20 minutes and go, that person's an idiot. Well, that person's an idiot about cryptocurrency. Okay. They
Yeah.
don't know. They should not even have a position at the table. Yet they're allowed such position at the table because they supposedly, within our government structure, they represent the people of their district.
Hmm.
Well, that's not the case. That's clearly not the case. If they're uninformed, like how could they be there even to listen of a technology that they don't know the first thing about? It's sad. How did I get down that rabbit hole?
Yeah. That, you just reminded me in the conference, excuse me, Tulsi Gabbard gave a speech, and it was awesome. It was so good. She
She's the
she ran and she was in Congress.
she's in Hawaii or something, right?
Yeah, she came out of Hawaii, Democrat out of Hawaii, Congress. I want to say from 2012 to like recently. She recently
Okay,
left the Democratic Party, and she left it because she was like, this isn't the same party that I joined 20 years ago. And I
right.
totally identified with that, growing up
Oh
in
yeah,
our state, and understanding the party,
yeah,
and people who I did look up to who are kind of more your age, Dad,
sure.
and more your time, whereas like the ones in my time, I was like, man, this is fishy, man, this is dicey, this is
It's
sketchy.
shaky.
I don't trust these people, this is nuts. Like
Yeah,
I I'm listening to her, and she's saying exactly that. She's like, I'm not, you know I I owe it I owe it to the people now to be the voice of reason, not some totalitarian control over you.
right.
And that big picture is like, we can sit around all day, you and I, Dad, on Patreon or wherever,
Yeah,
and talk ad nauseum about totalitarianism and how it's effed up the world, or we can be courageous and build momentum with all of us and how we really want to feel, how we really
yeah,
want our lives in this world to look.
that's right.
That's the conversation that you and I are going to have.
Yeah,
It's gonna come back to hopium, solution minded. What good ideas you guys got?
yeah. Because
What
the
do you got?
workarounds and the ideas and the solutions are there. And
Yeah.
and we know it because we're in it. We live in it. I already know Theta's gonna fix media. I already Theta's gonna fix the whole entire phone network. You know, if all you gotta do is look at what Theta's gonna do and what XRP is gonna do and what Bitcoin's gonna do and what Cardano's gonna do. And when you start looking at the top, I don't know, 50 blockchains, and you start looking at them and what their objectives are, if they were allowed to flourish, it's a different world very quickly, very quickly. And
Yeah.
particularly when you start talking about voting and when you start talking about all this representation that doesn't represent us. They don't represent our beliefs, and they haven't for a very long time
Hmm.
because we're told that the beliefs that all of us have are the ones that the mainstream media evening news tells us. Well, that's not what everybody in the streets thinks is important in life. Because I know people in the street. And that's not what they think at all. In fact, the ones that do think that mainstream narrative, they don't really have an opinion. They just go along with it. They don't really look, man, I
Yeah.
go to work and I watch my football on the weekend and that's what I do. And yeah, okay, that might be reality. They're not trying to change their world. They're pretty happy in their little,
Hmm.
I hate to
As long as
diminish
they
who
keep
they
the
are,
status
but
quo, the big checks are going to keep coming in,
yeah,
and they're going to make their bosses happy and their employers happy,
yeah,
and that's that. You almost you can't judge them for that. You can't.
no,
It's like if we were all given the same circumstance, you know, maybe somewhere along the road in our lives, we would have been a politician. We would have been
yeah,
a congressperson.
right,
But we're here
yeah,
now, and
but
it's like, why sit there and bag on them when
yeah,
we can help educate them?
well, because for instance, like we can go all the way back, but the only reason why we have representatives is because it took 3 days on horseback to go from California to Washington D.C. and we
Yeah.
couldn't all make the trip to go vote. Like literally, that's the only reason why these people represent us.
Hmm.
Well, we don't need that anymore. We
No.
this little thing called the internet came along, and we can vote for ourselves. Okay,
Uh,
it's got to be secure, and it's got to be on a blockchain, and it's got to make a difference. And if it doesn't make a drastic difference the very first time we all vote, it's corrupted somehow because most people don't want what they want. That system doesn't represent the people any longer, in my opinion.
very,
And
very well put, Dad.
yeah,
We don't have to go horseback no more. We can send messages from outer space. Hello,
this was my
video, audio, live
yeah,
feed.
this was my point to a friend of mine the other day. I said, he goes, well, I don't even understand why we need cryptocurrencies. I said, well, okay, let me ask you this. You can send a text. I just sent one today to a guy in the UK. Okay.
Hmm.
Boom. Da 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 da. Seconds later, he gets it. I don't have to ask permission to the bank if I can send a message to my friend, do I? I get to do that because why? Because technology and freedom. Why do I need permission from anybody to send him $5 or $5 million? That's him and I. It's just like sending a text. There's nobody in between me and I communicating with somebody else on the planet. Who the hell do they think they are to get in between me and my money going to whoever in the UK? And he looks at me and he goes, wow, that makes sense. And I was like, right. They have this privilege. They've self privileged themselves, whatever that term might be. And I'm sure that's English somewhere in the world. And it's like they've allowed themselves to do this in between us. And
Hmm.
they have this stranglehold and they're not letting go of it. And that's the
Yeah.
stuff that's going to change. That's
Yep.
what, and politicians are
I'm
gone,
actually hearing the politicians say it now, Dad.
right?
And if they don't say it, don't listen to
Yeah,
them.
right.
Ignore them.
Yeah,
DC's not saying it. Ignore them.
right. That's it.
They're not working for you.
Shut the TV off and ignore them. Okay, do you have any great questions in there or should we wrap this thing up?
Uh, yeah. Let me buzz through real quick here. Man,
Thanks you
much
guys
love to
so much for being
everybody.
there.
Much love, Chris and Joanna.
Uh, Joanna rocks.
Man,
She's been with us since day one.
that's the that's the woo, Alan. Hey, why don't we just do a woo video sometime with Simon? How about that?
I was just, is Simon in the
That would
house?
just tickle me down to the ground.
Is Simon in the house?
Oh yeah.
Simon, did you? I'm sure he did, but I just got an invite to the Woo Woo convention in Florida.
What?
Right?
When?
Yeah. That's interesting. We'll go down the woo-woo hole for sure. The
Oh
woo
man.
hole, the woo-woo hole for Brent and I is a very, very deep hole. That'll take quite a few. Are you okay, Brent?
Yeah, I'm just laughing at what you just said.
The woo-woo hole?
It is a very deep hole for us. It just
It
is.
is. That's a deep one. That'll take me
Now, what were you gonna say about it? What were you gonna
that
say about it?
that'll take me 20 episodes just to paint the
Mhm.
picture of where I stand.
Yeah,
Like literally. That
we'll end up having our own show on like Gaia and like
yeah, as far
uh,
as woo goes, like it's funny that I hear people call themselves woo woo people, and then I hear their life experiences, and then they're shocked by a coincidence or something in in their life. It's like, or they have deja vu, and they're like, hey, they tell this big dramatic story about it. It's like, yeah, that's like woo woo 101, right? That's not even woo
yeah,
woo. That's like everybody.
yeah. We've
Anyway,
all had a weird.
yeah,
I gotta say, um, I've heard you hear so much alien chatter and or just unidentified instances.
right.
Uh, you have one, I have one, and my friend Lindsay has one, and the three of them, when we were sitting around talking about it, it was weird. Like it got strange. It was like that energy where you're like, man, yeah, I've had something like that in my life too.
Yeah,
Not necessarily some alien floating out in the sky, but you're just looking out at something and you're like, what is that? Or like,
yeah,
what just happened to me?
yeah.
Um,
I
those
don't have a
that
lot of
stuff's
woo. I don't have a lot of UFO.
no.
I don't, but
You've got a really good yacht one that I think is it's
yeah,
so good. It's so good. I wrote it into this story.
most of my
My dad has a great story, and well, he's got 1,000 great boat stories, but
yeah,
this one fit into this story that I was telling, and
yeah,
I was
most
like,
of my
yeah,
woo woo stories revolve around gosh, hard to explain, spirituality, uh,
yeah,
um, healings, um, psychics.
hmm
Um,
that's what I want us to discuss.
yeah,
To be
that's
honest,
all. That's been my lifetime.
yeah, me
That
too.
like
I grew up with
yeah.
it. I grew
So
up
it's
with it.
it's a huge part of my life that I didn't even look at it as being abnormal. Like I just I think everybody has those stories, and it's kind of strange. A lot of people don't, but many have bigger stories, and I'm sure greater stories than I do about it. But my whole life has been one series of those stories after another for
Yeah,
since I was 18. So all those we'll share. We're going to talk about all of those for sure.
yeah, we
We got to
are.
get on Patreon for most of those, though. I think, but
Yeah,
yeah, we're
yeah.
close. Yeah. Um, did you? That was cool. Simon's in the house. Love you, Simon.
Mhm.
Uh, what else you got, Brent?
Bobby's
Oh,
still here. We got this with XRP. Let's
yep, we
go.
got this.
Yeah, we do. XRP's nuts. I really gotta talk about a deep hole. I gotta dive down here. I wanna
It's a
really
deep hole.
understand it. I really want to understand it with the crew going forward.
Yeah,
And
Elizabeth is
I'm
all
just
in
not hip
now.
on dates and trial stuff and kind of I want to learn about where it's going to spread to and how we can use it. I want to learn about how we can use it. And I mean, you've been nailing it, Dad, and you've told me some stories, with people that you've spoken to about, the making the awareness of it, and
they're using.
What an exciting time to have XRP.
Banks are all in on it. Not all of them, but a lot of them. You know, that whether that's good or not, you know, we're going to get into that as well. I have show notes on that already that I'm going to talk about, guys, who this group is and who this group is. And those two groups work together on many things, but they're all not always together on things. And they try to rule the world, and they try to do it in different ways. And I'm going to go over experiences that I've had with working with different bosses that was attached to this group, and this boss was attached to this group, and what they thought of each other and how they interact and how they corrupt systems differently, and what their beliefs about life are, and what do they think of mankind, and what do they think of where the big picture is and where we're all headed. So that's the
Yeah,
stuff I really want to talk about, and get out of my head. And maybe you guys have stories that you can relate, or you have connections. Somebody while we were on the live stream just called me, and he's a guy from Florida who sent me something really cool. He's obviously not watching the show, but he sent me some documents last week about a deep dive, about XRP that goes all the way back to like 2007, documents and stuff. That was very interesting read. Yeah,
that is
with
such a
big
cool
players.
story of you guys meeting in Vegas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could say his first name, Sean, but
yeah. Shout out, Sean, man. Can't wait to know you.
yeah, he's a good dude. He's not on the show because he called,
Yeah, nice.
but
Nice.
we'll call him back. What do you think? We've been on how long? Oh my God, an hour and a half?
91 minutes.
Holy smokes.
Yikes.
Well, what do you think, Brent?
Yeah.
This is a good kind of introductory. Well, it's our second video.
Yeah,
What we're going to cover.
we got spicier there in the beginning. I thought. I was so
That's
excited
nothing.
I was so excited to just research this week and come in with good energy and bring that to you guys. That's
Yeah.
all I want to do here, and just love all of you. I've loved watching. And there haven't even been that many questions, Dad. It's just everybody talking to each other,
Cool.
and kind of the community bonding together. Elizabeth is writing to people, and
We're trying to figure out how we can make sure that's in the recorded version. I can't figure that out. We thought we clicked that button, and it wasn't on the last video or two. So we're going to work on that. I figured the sound cable out. Sorry about the beginning of the video. It was a sound cable that was connected, and it was like, oh, you never know. Audio.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess until next Sunday. What's that?
Take care to you, Northern Living.
Yeah.
Bobby's saying we probably got some pigs to go feed now.
Northern Living is Emma's dad, who sent the artwork for the logo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for working on that, Emma.
Yeah. That was Landon. He had dinner with Elizabeth and I when we were in Vegas. It was fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. It was good stuff. And God, I'm sure there's all kinds of people in the chat. I can't read the thing. Even with glasses, I can't read it.
We got Davey X. We got Outdoor Boys.
Nice. Outdoor Boys, are they the guys that live down in the valley from me? I think they are. I think they live down in Fresno area. I could be wrong about that. There's so many.
Stephen Holt, Rye Guy's back with us. Chris, shout out to you, Chris.
Is that Chris with the I think that's the Chris, Brent, that did the poster I sent you last night of the photo and me and the billboard.
He does the Simpsons characters?
Yeah, it's an NFT that he bought. If I have the right Chris.
I'm gonna. I don't want to. I don't want to mess up your name, Chris.
It's
Uh,
Dave.
Polopoulos. Polopoulos.
No, that's the Chris who lives in North County, San Diego. He lives,
Oh, okay.
yeah, Elizabeth and I met that Chris the last night at the party in Vegas. That he lives in Fallbrook.
Nice.
That's right.
Outdoor boys are in Fresno.
See, I nailed those guys. I knew that's who
Hmm.
they were. We're gonna have to meet up with those guys for sure. They're close.
Nice.
Yeah. And okay, who else is in there?
Those are the heavy hitters. Yeah, Chris said yes, Fallbrook.
Yeah, that's the right Chris.
Simon's still with us. Joanna's been writing this whole time.
Joanna. She's
Man,
probably like writing with Elizabeth, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth jumped on, was talking to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
your energy is so rad, Joanna. I hope I get to meet you sooner than later.
she and I got on the phone. It was 3 hours. I'm not kidding you. It was 3 hours.
Of course it
And
was.
and I don't know why we haven't talked since, but yeah,
Mm,
but that was a while back. And her son did this amazing artwork, and yeah, really cool stories in our community. And she's somebody we should interview in the future
yep.
for sure. Yeah, we're going to be doing interviews of other people too. By the way,
Oh
that's who
yeah.
we are, and that's how we operate.
Yeah,
I'd love to do an interview with.
I have some personal friends I want to bring on, but more than ever, I want to learn more about the crew and
Yeah,
pull all of us in, the people who are making this community what it is.
yeah,
That's who I want to talk to.
yeah. Simon would be a great chat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He's been in crypto, gosh, as long as I have, probably at least.
I like
Yeah,
his. I got to tell him I watch his shorts. I like his shorts. I don't see them
yeah,
all, but I feel like he posts a good amount. And I'll start
yeah,
watching them. But all of a sudden, they popped up on my feed, and I was like, yes! Like,
yeah.
it was just good to see you. Good to see you, bro.
Well, my water ran out 10 minutes ago, and
All right,
good help is hard to find around here.
let's
So
let's call it good. Let's
maybe,
call let's call it a show, huh?
yeah, for sure. I'm so glad. I mean, that was probably over 100 people in here. I
Yeah,
was impressed with that, and sorry for the crazy start. I keep changing video platforms and audio platforms, and every time I do, it's like, oh yeah, this one doesn't work like that when this one does. So we're learning it. We're figuring it out. We'll get better. And and
yeah,
Brent and I's relationship, you guys are going to see, is like it's so much fun because he's my best friend, and Elizabeth are my two best friends in the world, and it really will show. And I think it's really important for the world that we live in today that parents and their children have more in common, and they get to experience life with each other and share the fruits of knowledge and financial sovereignty and well-being. And I think it's really important that we do that with our children, and they understand what sound money is. And Brent has been an incredible student on that. And I know a lot of his friends are in that growth period of their life at that age. They're like, wow, I better start thinking
mm,
about this kind of stuff. So it's
yeah,
really been fun sharing all that with him. And he's teaching me stuff about blockchain and all the rest of it. So that's where we're going to go with this show. It's fun stuff,
yeah. They're
educational,
just
and
like my dad. There's nothing I won't talk to you guys about.
yeah,
Um, I'll be as honest.
yeah,
Anytime we do a live thing like this, whatever you guys want to hear about, whatever you want to talk about, I'll try to be better about reading the comments and getting to all that. And and just increase the research and kind of knowing a little bit about everything.
And some,
Um, so that we can touch on all of it and really have a great discussion table here,
right.
uh, to where we really can find the solutions and we really can find what works for,
And,
say, you know,
and
Aussie in Australia versus me here in Central Coast. Like, what works?
and there's absolutely no question you can't hit us with. I mean, it
Hmm.
doesn't mean I'll have an answer. Like if I don't know something, I'll just tell you I don't know anything about that. I don't want to mislead you.
Yeah,
So I'm not just gonna, pretend to be a know-it-all here. If I don't know something about it, or what I know about it doesn't resonate with you, just move on to the next question, and just take what resonates or learn from whatever you can. But these questions, these BIS and this IMF stuff, oh, I'm getting into all of it. And I'm going to get into that and more. And so think about hard hitting questions, and I will do a better job of reading them and really looking into them. And if I think they're too deep and too poignant, maybe is the right word, I will do a deep dive and we'll get into it in the next week's show. So because
nice.
some of these deserve more research than off the top of some old man's head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay, Brent, we should probably get out of here.
Love you guys. Go enjoy your Sunday already.
Yeah. Get outside and enjoy it. That's where I'm headed. We're going to go throw the ball for the dog.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk with my lovely wife. And she's on a week-long trip. So we're going to have a little dinner on before she hits the road. And I will be shooting some videos. I got a couple, 2, 3 videos coming out this week, guys. Good, fun stuff. And if you
Nice.
haven't seen my video I did today, you should check that one out. That's kind of XRP Penman. If you've seen it, it was fun, a little different. And I got a more traditional XRP video coming out this week that I think nobody's really covered, and I'm going to really get into it. So it should be good.
We'll
All
check
right,
it
B
out.
man, I love you, and
Love you
take care of
too.
yourself, son. And we will talk soon.
Love you all. Be good.
Love you. I'm out.
I'm out.
Mm.